Roll call, Mr. Rivera. Mr. Vicari.
Here.
Mr. Wiegand.
Here.
Mr. Zamora.
Here.
Fouts here. Mr. Jackson.
You can't make it today.
Mr. Lapis.
He had a medical issue.
Okay, he's got a serious issue. Mr. Petzold.
He said he couldn't make it.
Okay.
Motion to excuse the absent members?
All right, motion by Mr. Zamora to excuse the absent members. Support by Mr. Vicari. All in favor? All right, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Lapis, and Mr. Petzold have been excused. All right, next agenda item is the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion and support.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Rivera, support by Mr. Wiegand. All in favor? Opposed? All right, the agenda has been adopted unanimously. All right, next item is audience participation, opportunity to speak for 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sir, I told you 2 days ago, Mr. Mayor, and I spoke, and I asked you 3 things. I see none of the 3 things have been done. Number 1, you cannot be heard, the members of this group cannot be heard. We need a microphone on this table, and you agreed to check on that. 2, I asked for a copy of the e-packet, and you agreed to check on that, and that's not been done, and the e-packet is not on the website. Okay, the problem that most people have with the DDA is you keep hiding. You hide behind closed doors, you're not transparent. If you want to be transparent, if you were transparent, people may start to trust you, but we cannot trust you when everything you do is hidden from the taxpayers of the city, and I understand none of you live in this city except the mayor. So I would like to see, number 1, the city council asked for these events, this DDA meeting to be filmed. Where is the film? I asked for a microphone. Where is the microphone? I asked for an e-packet. Where's the e-packet? On this agenda, it says you want to buy an ice skating rink. Doesn't say where, doesn't say how much, where you're gonna put this thing. So again, you're passing, you're spending our tax dollars, and yes, it's my tax dollars, and you're not telling us you're hiding behind a closed wall. You need to stop that.
All right, next one.
Right here,
State your name for the record, please.
Barbara Serta. I just have 2 short questions and then I wanna make a couple of points. So the DDA, what kind of legal entity is it? Is it executive branch or LLC?
Excuse me, ma'am, you're just making statements. You can't cross-examine the DA. You can make
I
your
can't ask a
statements.
question.
No.
You can call my office and we'll do it.
And what's your name?
He doesn't answer his phone. I've called him numerous times and he's never answered the phone.
Okay, excuse me, please, this lady is
That's
speaking.
First Amendment freedom of
Excuse me,
speech.
no, you don't have freedom
Yes, I do
of
have
speech to
proof.
interrupt people, no.
City
Please
council-
be quiet, let this lady speak,
Commissioner Dwyer
okay?
ruled it was freedom of speech.
Excuse me, let this lady speak, you had your time, go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am, whatever questions you have, you'll respond back, but we don't get into question and answer. So you can raise your questions and you get back, okay?
So the points I wanted to make is I'm a numbers person by trade, I'm a CPA. So I read thoroughly the intent, letter of intent that Emily Hyde. And according to these calculations, because the memorandum covers a 50-year period, 20 years plus 3 renewables for 10 years, I ran the numbers through a 50-year period. And after the 50th year, our net cost to Warren is $6.5 million. That's taken into consideration what De La Salle pays and pays us, and then what we pay as far as principal, interest, and all of the maintenance costs. So my point that I wanted to make to the citizens of Warren is that since I can't ask a question, what I wanted to know is this deal done? Is there agreements that have already been signed? Because I think it warrants a discussion. $6.5 million net cost to
1 minute.
to Warren, and we don't get naming rights. We're trying to improve our brand and our image. We're not getting naming rights. We don't get to manage or oversee scheduling. We don't get any of this concession money. We don't implement any kind of fee schedule, I mean, they present the fee schedule to us and we have to approve it, okay? So we are not doing, they get the rights to sell advertising and a future agreed upon revenue sharing. And they control all the concessions. So my main point is that this does not sound like a good deal. This doesn't sound like a good deal. We're giving a lot, but we're not getting a lot. Our net cost is $6.5 million, and we don't even get naming rights. Go ahead, you have a comment?
Okay, time's up, thank you.
All right,
Response after
excuse me, Mary, will answer questions.
Just let
If
her
we
know
start
to
this,
talk.
will be question and answer.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So
This is
this,
her opportunity.
so my opportunity to speak is just, you lending your ears to me and there's no dialogue or answering questions or having an opportunity to
Okay,
pause,
time's up, thank you. Anyone else?
pause the project.
All right, okay, go ahead, state your name.
Couple of things, I'll correct the record for Lori. Mr. Zamora lives in town and he has a very nice place, so talk to him out there, so. The other thing is, I think it's very disrespectful to be playing on your phone when, as the mayor, when the lady is talking to the audience. That's disrespectful.
I'm just looking at the time.
Lastly, what's that?
He's just doing a time clock.
So, the other thing is, so that everybody's aware, the DDA audit that we called for is complete. It's been, the forensic audit's been sent to the state. There was a misappropriation of funds of $460,000. And if they find the mayor liable, I hope they make him pay it back out of his pocket. So everybody needs to know that. If you think it's funny, I'm gonna push. I'm gonna keep pushing, just like you've done to me over the years. Because this is ridiculous. This DDA is not transparent at all. We passed an ordinance at city council to record these meetings. You did it one time. You haven't done it again. What are you afraid of? What do you not want the residents to hear? I think it's important that the residents knows how many millions of dollars flows through here every year that should be going through other places. So, thank you.
All right, next.
Hi, I'm Lori Harris, and I want to say I am so excited. This is your last time sitting here running one of these meetings. I think that's great, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad you're going to be gone because because you have not been a good example of leading this city and leading this DDA. And last night's meeting was a mess and very poorly run and disrespect from Mr. Bomarito, from Mr. Turcato, and that the citizens are treated this way is disgusting. I will give you credit, you're at least looking at me, because usually I have to move around so that you actually pay attention, but everyone else deserves that same respect. I also want to know why we're not recording these meetings. Who's going to get appointed to lead this, since this is your last day on this job in the DDA? And how do you defend yourselves against a misappropriation of funds? And that's only 1 year. That was a forensic audit. There are how many more years that you've been in charge and these men have just rubber stamped everything you've done? There's never been a discussion here. One time, someone brought up a discussion and that man has not been back yet since that meeting. That says a whole lot about this organization or this part of the city. And we want more, and we want better, and we want transparent, and we want progress. Thank you, and goodbye and good luck.
Anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir, in the back, and then.
Yeah, I'm Dick Sheridan. I've been part of Warren community for my whole life. I'm the president, founder, and the head varsity football coach of the East Side Eagles. Nobody uses the Warren Community Center more than we do. We're there 4 months a year. And when you leave that field at night, you won't find any garbage there. Our goal is to leave it cleaner than it was when we arrived. No matter what facility we're ready to work at. Like I said, next year will be my 50th year coaching. All of them have been in Warren. I was 37 years at St. Anne's, 13 years now with my East Side Eagles. And we do a lot for the youth of our area. Warren Community Center used to be a great field. I played there in 70, 71. 1975, my very first year coaching at St. Anne's, that was our home field. That was our field. And Don James, God rest him, he did a great job of maintaining that field to excellence. And now it's decayed. The only thing it does for my people right now is they use that decayed building, don't even go to the stands. We use that for shade, and my parents put their folding chairs there to watch practice. That's all it's good for right now, for the facility itself. We do use the grass and everything, and I appreciate, and Dave for helping that happen. Like I said, the Warren Jets already got moved to Madison Heights. I'm playing a game Saturday, my home game, pink out game, breast cancer awareness, and I rented Frazier. You know why I rented Frazier? Because those Sterling Heights and Mount will not rent any of their fields to anybody. So I came to stay in my community, play my games, and they're at Madison Heights. All I'm trying to say is we need the youth today. We need programs like ours, like the Jets, for today's children. It's ridiculous. We preach the 4 Ds: desire, determination, discipline, dedication. Those aren't just tangibles, those are everyday words. And the parents go ahead and we reinforce the morals that the parents have for their child when they come out of their mother. We do. And today there's so many kids playing PlayStation at home, I'm worried about not getting on a football field. Real quickly, football saved my life. I was in a dysfunctional family. I grew up on Elvina, Panama, Studebaker, Southern Warren, and the coaches were like my fathers, my teammates were like my brothers. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have raised 3 beautiful daughters, and I raised them on Arden, right across the street from Warren Community Center. So I'm saying I'm a deep Warren lifer. I love this city, and if you go with I don't know what part De La Salle's going to hold in this. I don't know, but the fact that they don't do anything halfway, it's a commitment to excellence in that school. They will do a great by the city. I'm sure they will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
We appreciate your hard work.
All right, anyone else before I close?
Yes. Jerry Bell, I'm a Warren resident. Seems like this is a routine.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Routine, see, there you go. Before I even say anything, who's the problem? Mr. Watts. He's always complaining. He's blaming you all. As I look at all of you in the face, I can say you had a hell of a 4 years with this council. And they send their stooges, Miss Harris, Miss Arts,
I object to that. I am not a
Mr.
student.
Van
And that is
Der
freedom of speech. How dare you
they
call me a
send
student?
them to attack you all.
How dare you stop
Because
him.
you're
Call
doing
him
your
out
job.
of order. He is
Because they
calling
can't
me-
find out what they think they need to
You
know.
don't call him out of order.
Why don't you
I am
scroll
going
in
to
a little
continue.
bit closer, because you're gonna be gone in November.
Doesn't matter
That's
to
why
me.
you lost
It
by a lot.
Doesn't matter to me.
Miss Harris,
At least I wasn't in jail.
yesterday, Miss Harris, that meeting went bad because of you.
Mr.
Or have
Bell,
him, have him removed.
I'm sorry.
yeah, you gotta address us, not anybody else.
This is a problem. And I don't care what happens. I said from day one that I was gonna see that this council gets unelected by the next election. Look at the first council meeting, and I meant that. I take that to the heart, because I can't stand to see you and your stooges tear our city apart. Talk about this DDA committee like they're nothing,
They are.
dogging us out.
They are
Look
nothing.
at,
They're
she's
just-
too old to be talking like that.
Fine.
You're not stopping him.
She's too old to be talking, because this is my time.
1 minute.
She's too old to be acting like that.
Hey, I'm only.
They gotta go in November. They gotta go. And whatever we have to do to get them out of here, we gotta do what we gotta do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna close, is there anyone else who wants to speak, otherwise I'm gonna close it?
Tony Baker's on Zoom.
Oh, Tony Baker, okay, Tony Baker. That's Mr. Baker. Mr. Baker? Go ahead, Mr. Baker.
Are you muted, sir?
Okay,
There we go.
yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to run this to you. You have a statement on the city's website, and it starts out, the city that cares. Well, later down, on this post, there's a paragraph that states, the new website reflects my administration's goal to bring in city government services closer to Warren residents. When I became mayor, I instructed city employees to be courteous and responsive to anyone who contacted City Hall. So far, I am happy to report that city employees have reacted positively to my directive. Well, listen, what do you think, Mayor, about Mr. Bomarito and Dino Tornado, how they were so rude to the residents? And also, well over a year ago, George Reyes came to the council meeting and called me out about ADA. I filed a complaint with Mr. Emus, and he done nothing about it, he never got back to me. And also, Mr. Mayor, I came to you 7 years ago about ADA compliance. What have you done, except for telling me that Jeff Cummings and Kurt Raines is your experts? I got plenty of proof that they're wrong, and the DOJ has the information. So thank you for doing nothing about ADA in the 7 years that I tried to deal with you. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baker. All right, I'm gonna close the audience, but I'm gonna make a few comments. Can I make a few comments now? All right, number one, the lady in the back, if you wanna call my office, it's 574-4520.
He doesn't answer his phone either.
Excuse me, I will be glad to talk, yeah, 574-4520. I'll be glad to talk, address your concerns.
574?
4520. I'll be glad to address your concerns as best I can. Secondly, I want to explain to everyone, the rule is that when we have a meeting, we cannot respond back to you. You are allowed to speak, but we can't respond back to you. That's a general rule, that's a rule for all bodies, including the city council. So, otherwise we'd have chaos, we have back and forth here, so that's the way it goes. Secondly, in response to a couple of statements about the DDA, it just so happened this week I met with the auditor for Clint Moran, which is the foremost accounting firm in the metro area. They do Detroit, Sterling Heights, they do a majority of cities. We had a discussion on the court opinion regarding the DDA, and the auditor, and I don't remember his name now, maybe you do, Mr. You remember his name? Anyway,
That's why I asked for microphones, because we can't hear him.
at any rate, the auditor and I'll be loud to appease a few people. The auditor stated, Mr. Mayor, you did nothing wrong. He said it was a disagreement between the city council and the mayor's administration as to who controls the DDA. The DDA has always been a semi-autonomous body. And in this case, we were told by the legal experts that we could go ahead. Is that not true, Ms. Michaels, your city attorney's office, that we had a legal right to continue? Now, the media sort of wrote up what Mr. Schroeder wrote, and not exactly precise definition, but the majority of the money, I think $410,000 to $460,000 went toward fees that we had to pay. Engineering, sidewalks, what is it, the topography, what is it I want to say? Surveys and different things. So these are bills that the city has to pay through the DEA. This is for the DEA. So these were legitimate bills. So Clint Moran gave us an approval, and I might add, the city council approved the Plant Moran report that gave the DDA an A. He said, everything is fine, there's no problem here. The problem came in because the city council decided that they now will control the DDA, not the DDA. So we went to court, and there was a court issue on who was right, who was wrong. Ultimately, the court said, we're gonna let the city council be in control. At that point then, we did not spend any more money. But all of the money was spent for bills that we have to pay. They were obligatory contractual services that had to be paid. As a matter of fact, later on, the council ended up voting to pay the bills anyways. So that was the bottom line on that. So the fact is, Plant Moran unequivocally stated everything we did was appropriate. And nobody has said that it isn't appropriate. So that's where we're at. It was a disagreement over who controls the spending. Does the DDA board control it, or does the council? Ultimately, the court sided with the council, so then everything was set. But nothing was spent. It wasn't, Ms. Moore made the statement that this was like Eric Smith. No money was spent on Jim Faust. This was spent on lawn cutting, on engineering, on roads, all maintenance that had to be taken care of. A small percent of it went toward move to Warren and buy Warren, and that was a legitimate expenditure too, according to Plant Moran. So Plant Moran said everything is fine. Then the city council decided that they, even though they had approved Plant Moran, and Plant Moran had stated that everything was appropriate, the city council said, well, we want to do a forensic audit. Forensic means they're a criminal. You don't do a forensic audit unless you have some crime, unless you have some proof of some crime. And of course, the city council has deferred from Ethan Vincent, who is the legitimate city attorney. And by the way, I might add, Judge Servito, almost 2 years ago, ruled that Ethan Vincent is the city attorney, not Mr. Schroeder. But Mr. Schroeder continues to sit there and make money for for Plunkett Cooney, because for the first time in history, the city council fired the legitimate city attorney, Ethan Vincent, and hired a friend of Mindy Moore's, Jeff Schroeder, to be the city attorney. The circuit court does not recognize Mr. Schroeder as the city attorney, and they said so. The council tried to force me to fire Ethan Vincent and to also fire Skip McAdams. The court in both cases said, you cannot force the mayor to fire the city attorney. You cannot force the mayor to fire Skip McAdams, our outstanding fire commissioner, who has been with me 15 years. So the bottom line is, the court has ruled basically in favor of what we have been doing. The council got one court to say, okay, we'll let the council be in charge of the DDA funding, which has not been the case in the past. So that's the only dispute. It was a dispute over who controls things. In terms of misappropriation, it was only misappropriation because the council decided to put that as their title, that we have determined you can't pay your bills, you can't pay your expenditure on your landscaping and things like that. You can't pay those things. Ultimately, the council did pay it. So that's the bottom line on that. I am confident that when the treasurer responds, we will not be hurting for anything. Also, a misperception, which some of the council supporters seem to repeat here today, is that I control this body. All of you know, if I ever called any of you up and told you how to vote, I've never called you up and told you how to vote. A few times I've disagreed with you. So that is also wrong. You can't hold me responsible for the actions of the entire board. That would be like holding Mr. Watts responsible for the work of the entire city council. You can't do that. So that is not appropriate either. So I think all in all, things have been pretty fair. But there's something else that I need to address that was brought up. I'm trying to remember. So basically, that's where we're at. Now, I want to tell the DDA board that you should know that wherever I go, I have people that say we're in support of this administration and this board, and I get really good support. Now, I can't control what the council does, and this council, when they got elected 4 years ago, they decided that they were gonna go to war. And they were gonna fire the city attorney, which is not legal and not appropriate. And they were gonna do everything they could to make sure that I was no longer mayor. Now, they accomplished that, but in the end result, they also likely will not be on the future council. Mr. Green, who made a strong argument to term limit the mayor and get rid of the mayor, Mr. Green did not make the primary, he lost. So now it's gonna be between Laurie Stone
Sorry,
and
you
George
can't do
Daniels.
election talk.
Can't do election talk, that's illegal.
Excuse me, I'm giving a response.
No, you cannot.
I want equal time then.
Excuse
You
me.
cannot do politics in a city building.
All right, again, if you don't like what someone has to say, even if it's the truth.
It is not the truth.
It's not the truth.
Right. You can't do that in
All
a
right,
city.
so the bottom line is, I'm confident that we will have an entirely new council, and we will have a good mayor, and the council and the mayor will eliminate the costly lawsuits brought on by Mr. Schroeder and his law firm. And keep in mind, Plunkett Cooney has made money as well as Mr. Schroeder. So by bringing this outside attorney on, Plunkett Cooney has made a lot of money, at least $1 million or more, and they hope to make more. And Plunkett Cooney has tremendous influence with the state court system, and they're able to lobby all of these judges, so it's not surprising what happened. So I'm confident the future is great. This board will continue. If you like, you'll have a new leader, and we'll have new direction, and we will get a new town center. We will pay our bills on time. We will take care of a lot of bills that this council has failed to approve.
Equal time, Mayor.
Including the improvement of the recreation.
I'm requesting equal
All right.
time.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, go ahead. All right, next
I
one
guess no
is,
equal time is allowed.
Old business, 6A, or approval of the minutes, I'm sorry. Motion and support for minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Zamora, approved. Support by Mr. Zakari. All in favor? Opposed? All right, the minutes have been approved. My apologies. Now we go to 6A, which is ice rink.
Okay, Mr. Takata couldn't make it. This
We
is,
can't hear you.
this is
Speak up.
the ice rink out in front of the building here. As you know, it was broke. We rented it last year. And, we have some new drawings. We're going out for proposals. But the total redo and the total proposal won't be done and ready to go by this fall, or by this Christmas. So when we called to the company to rent this, we put it out to bid to rent the ice rink again. And this particular company was $119,500 to rent it and $119,600 to buy it, because we had already rented it. So, our recommendation is to buy it. If we get our remodel done in time
And you
for
can
next
put this in
year,
another park.
we could always use it in another park or sell it to another city. So, our goal right now is to just make the motion to approve it, so we can get it in time for Christmas.
Okay. So we need a motion, well, first of all, I need a motion, support, and then any questions. Motion and support.
Motion to support.
Motion by Mr. Zakari. Support by Mr. Wiegand, and then discussion by,
Any discussion?
all right, I'll call the question then. Mr. Zakari.
Yes.
Mr. Wiegand. Yes. Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. Zamora.
Yes.
Vote yes, the motion passed unanimously by those present. All right, next item is 7A, roof repairs and maintenance for City Hall and Civic Center Library, Sheena Roofing and Sheet Metal. Mr. Mazzarelli, did you want to speak on this?
We had originally budgeted, over almost $100,000 to fix 2 of the roofs in City Hall. We had Shana come out and evaluate all 5 of the different roofs. And these guys are great. They're the same guys that we had do, the BB Historical Building, and they've done a lot of work over at wastewater. We currently have have a city contract with them already, so we'd be working under that contract. They came through, they evaluated some stuff, they fixed some minor repairs for us for free already, just with stuff that was, you know, some small stuff. They went through and said, you don't need these major repairs that other companies told you you need, we just need to do some maintenance on these roofs. So for all 5 roofs, it's under $20,000, I think it's 17,000 some change. And these guys are, I mean, just been fantastic with us, very straightforward, very honest. I mean, I trust everything these guys have said, and they've done just amazing work for us so far.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mazzarelli, and I appreciate your work. Let's take a motion and support first, and we'll have a discussion. Motion and support on roof repair? I'll make the motion. Motion by Mr. Gutierrez. Support by Mr. Gutierrez. Discussion. All right, no discussion, I'll call the question. Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mr. Wiegand.
Yes.
Mr. Zamora.
Yes.
Crouch, yes, the motion passed unanimously. All right, we go to,
Next one, Mr. Mayor,
7D.
7D is fencing at BB Park. We finished BB Park essentially, and put in some electrical, extra outlets and some lighting. And we needed to take the fence down and put it back up. So the cost of doing that is $1,400. So we're just looking for approval to get that done.
okay, we need a motion support to pay for BB Park.
Motion to approve the fencing?
Motion by Mr. Zamora. Support by Mr. Wiegand. Any discussion before I call the question? Okay, I'll call the question. Mr. Zamora.
Yes.
Mr. Wiegand. Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Crouch, yes, the motion passed unanimously. All right, 7C, is Warren City Hall Park Building Improvement Proposal.
Yeah, this is a proposal, it's in the packet from Hubble Rock and Clark HRC for phase 1 of the city building out front. The little park building out there is in need of some upgrades. The bathrooms need to be upgraded. We're looking at how the chillers and how the piping that goes to the ice rink is functioning in there. There's some glass doors that were originally slid open that need to be fixed. And so, this is to hire HRC to do the engineering and the paperwork so we can go out to bid to get the building fixed.
Okay, so I need a motion to support on this.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Rivera. Support by Mr. Gutierrez. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the question. Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mr. Wiegand.
Yes.
Mr. Zamora.
Yes.
Crouch, yes, the motion passed unanimously. All right, 8 is the list of the bills.
Question,
Yes.
Partners in Architecture, what was that for?
This is the first payment on the fire station, the 2 fire stations.
Fire station.
Yeah, they won the bid for the 2 fire stations and
Yeah.
they're actively in the process.
Yeah, they did a good job on the
Yeah.
library this one.
Yeah.
And that was competitive bids.
Yeah, just a side note, the estimates that we originally brought to the board was about 22 million, of which we thought about 18 or so was gonna be the actual hard construction cost. And after the bids, it came in just a little over 16, I believe. So we're running, at least now, a couple of million under budget, so that's a good thing.
All right, I need a motion support for the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Mr. Zamora to pay the bills, support by Mr. Rivera. All right, seeing or hearing no further questions, I'll call the question. Mr. Zamora?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Wiegand?
Yes.
Crouch, yes, the motion passed unanimously. All right, the next DDA meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 15th at 3 p.m., which we will by then have a new mayor. And I'll look forward to seeing the new mayor take over this position. Before adjournment, I would just say that I've enjoyed working with all of you. I think we've done a lot. I'm convinced that under the leadership of the new mayor, there will be a town center. And with a totally new council, I believe it will be a new council.
Shame on you.
Stop.
You're politicking again.
You can't do that.
With
Ha
a
ha.
new council, then
You
the
cannot do that.
town center
You're
will be
breaking the
built
law,
and the
repeatedly breaking the law
reparations
here.
will be paid for.
Listen, this mayor's done more for this
No,
city.
he has not.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Okay, all right.
Bullshit. I'll
Okay,
argue with that on that
okay.
anyway.
Stop.
You don't even live in
You
our
can't-
city.
This woman, you
Our
can't
city.
argue.
Listen, I'm here on my own. They don't pay me a penny.
So am I.
I've been here
So
for,
am I.
I've been here for 6 years.
I've been here for
He's-
50.
That, he's done nothing
He
but
has
try
done
to do
nothing
good
for this city. Well, then why did the stadium fall apart?
You can't.
Explain to me
Motion
why
to
the
adjourn.
stadium fell
Motion to
apart.
adjourn. All in favor, opposed? All right, thank you for working hard, I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to the new mayor and a new city council that
Amen.
will approve things that have been stacked up.